Hey guys, I'm transformation specialist and sex addiction recovery coach Rob Lopicola. Hope your day is going well today. Once again, I'm in from the gym. I am a master personal trainer. I may have shared that with you before, and I train clients in fitness and nutrition Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I go to the gym as well. So I'm in from the gym now, and I think about each week what I want to talk with you about, and I relate it strictly and with laser focus with what I was going through in my sex and meth addiction. And it's interesting because when you're deeply wrapped in the grip of meth and sex addiction, it's very, very difficult to nearly impossible to leave that life and venture off into the unknown, a life where you will be clean from crystal meth and free from sexually addictive behaviors. Very, very difficult when you're really deeply engrossed in that sex and meth addiction. As for me, it was very, very challenging for me to experience sobriety until I got to a place where I had extreme desperation and I needed to change or die. And sometimes that's where addiction leads you, to a place where you either will die or you go to jail or you get institutionalized. You get to a point where you feel extremely desperate and you're willing to do whatever it takes. And if you are at a point where you're willing to do whatever it takes, then you're in the right spot. And here today, what I want to talk with you about are the sacrifices that must be made either way. So if you are living a life where you are addicted to methamphetamine and sexually compulsive behaviors, you have to sacrifice so many things in your life. A healthy, thriving relationship, you will sacrifice that. There's no way a healthy, thriving, prospering relationship, romance, can survive if you're addicted to methamphetamine and sexually compulsive behaviors. What you have to sacrifice is a life of peace and serenity. You're sacrificing a life where you are present and aware of the beautiful things in this world, like friendships and socializing and traveling to the Grand Canyon and going to the beach and thoroughly enjoying your day. And you may experience some of that in your meth and sex addiction, but you're always clouded. You're always a bit distracted, disoriented on some level by sexual thoughts and fantasies. Sexual activity tends to overtake the mind with obsession, which ultimately leads to compulsive behaviors. If you're meth addicted, you're either getting excited about the meth party coming or using meth at some point later today or tomorrow, or you're coming down off meth where you're just trying to get a grasp on yourself and a grasp on the day, or you are right now high on meth and you're out with friends and you have that illusion of confidence and sex appeal and you feel as though you could conquer the world and you're not worried about anything because you're so high on methamphetamine that you're really not present and you're entrapped by the illusion of what you think methamphetamine is giving you. There's always a sacrifice when you are in meth and sex addiction. For me, I sacrificed my career ultimately, my career that I built as a child, which was my childhood dream. And I built this amazing career as an NBC weatherman, but I was so distracted by sex and alcoholism and eventually methamphetamine, I gave it all away and ultimately wound up homeless, bankrupt, lonely, self-loathing, and ultimately committed a sex crime by having cyber sex with a high school teenager I met on Craigslist and did years in prison. And I lost everything. I sacrificed everything for my addiction. Now, you may not go down the exact same road I went in your meth and sex addiction, but you are sacrificing so much of your life. And if you're willing to sacrifice peace, serenity, a thriving relationship, a successful career, financial stability, building a career where you're following your dreams and living your passion, well, you're going to sacrifice all that ultimately. Your relationships with a beautiful person that could possibly thrive eventually will fall apart, because if you are wrapped in meth and sex addiction, you're not going to stay faithful. And maybe you'll stay faithful with a person, but you're not going to stay faithful when it comes to pornography and getting yourself wrapped up in the objectification of it all. Your significant other is not going to tolerate that too much. So, and you're hurting the other person. What we sacrifice is being a man of integrity, a man of dignity, a loyal person. We're sacrificing morals and values because of our meth and sex addiction. So And there's so much more. I could talk all day with you about all the sacrifices if you are staying with meth and sex as your priority in life. Logically, you know, you need other priorities like a career and a relationship and taking care of your significant other or your children, whatever the case may be. But really, our addictive mind really only cares about using, whether it is methamphetamine or sexually compulsive behaviors. On the other hand, if you want to experience a life of sobriety, free from sex and methamphetamine, well, you have to make sacrifices as well. Now you have to sacrifice, well, having sex with multiple people. You have to sacrifice the high-risk sexual behaviors leading to STDs and HIV, gonorrhea, chlamydia, herpes, all of these STDs. You will be sacrificing that possibility. You'll sacrifice loneliness. If you free yourself from sex and meth addiction, you may experience a life where you're thriving and intimately involved with people, present and loving and loyal. Well, you're going to sacrifice all of the chaos and all of the misfortune that comes with addiction. You're going to sacrifice that for all the beautiful things. What are you willing to sacrifice? One way or another, you have to make a sacrifice, whether you stay in meth and sex addiction or whether you experience sobriety from sexually compulsive behaviors and methamphetamine. One way or another, there's a sacrifice for you. And what are you willing to sacrifice for what you really want in your life? What do you really want in your life? Because you can't have both. You're not going to have a life that's thriving and peaceful and loving and sincere, where you are a thriving person with morals and values. You're not going to have that if you're addicted to methamphetamine and sexually compulsive behaviors. You're just not. They're not going to balance out. What's going to happen is the addiction will take over. The poison will always win. What poison do you have in your life right now that you don't want anymore? What do you want to get rid of? What do you want to change? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to do to change your life? And if you're still watching this video, how far in now? We're about 7 minutes or so. If you're still watching this video, then there's something going on in your life where you really want to make a change. You want to clean this up so badly, but are you willing to do what it takes? What are you willing to sacrifice to change your life? Because one way or another, there is a sacrifice here. Whether you stay in active addiction or you lead a life of healthy sexual expression, a life free from methamphetamine, live a life free of all mind and mood altering substances. Because if you're an addict, well, we have to remove ourselves from all mind and mood altering substances to experience a life of sobriety. And sobriety means soundness of mind. Sobriety means having a mind that is focused and peaceful and serene, a life of self-confidence, positive self-image. That's what sobriety is about. And do you want to have a sober life? You know, when I was deeply involved in my addiction, my spiritual advisor, my coach, told me that you deserve to feel as good as you feel when you're in addiction, but you have to learn how to feel that sober. You have to learn how to feel that in a present, peaceful state of mind. And I loved it because let's be real. I'm going to be real with you. Methamphetamine felt great during the meth use, but ultimately it destroyed my life, and it will destroy your life. It'll take away your dreams, your passions. It'll take away all the successful potential you have. Who you want to be as you mature in life will be taken away from you. And your sex addiction will keep you in the clouds, keeps you in the clouds of despair and pain and self-loathing. You're sacrificing so much of what you have to offer yourself and the world for your addiction. If you're sober, you're sacrificing all the misery. Yes, think about it. You're sacrificing having sex with men you don't know, who don't care about you. They just want to have sex with you as much as you want to have sex with them. They don't want you. It's not personal. Part of your ego makes you feel like, oh, I'm wanted, I'm loved, I'm needed, I'm nurtured, I'm cared for. They want me. They don't want you. They want your body. And when we're in sex addiction, that's almost enough. You're willing to settle for that when you're deeply involved in sex addiction. I'm willing to settle for being an object. Because as far as I'm concerned, when I'm in sex addiction, I am an object and I objectify everybody else. If you just think about that for a moment, think about all your passions and dreams you had when you were a little kid, the things you wanted to achieve in life, who you wanted to be, the great things you wanted to achieve. Did you have dreams? Did you have anything that you wanted to become when you grew up and you got out of high school and went to college? Did you dream of making money and building a career? What career was that? Did you have dreams of falling in love and great romance and just experiencing the beautiful things in life? Well, your addiction to meth and sex took that away. And if you achieved any of that, stick around long enough with your meth and sex addiction. It'll take it all away. Do you want it all taken away? Because it will. It's going to go away. You're going to sacrifice all of your dreams and passions in life for your addiction. And if that's what you're willing to do, keep your addiction. If you're really willing to just live your life like this, think about your life. Think about the meth parties and the people you hang out with, getting high with, the money you're spending on drugs, watching pornography, hooking up with strangers in strange places. You couldn't even dream of telling people the things you do and think about, because you know, so on some level it's kind of twisted. It's kind of out there. It's not sane. So you don't want to share it. You don't even want half the stuff you're doing in your life. You don't want anyone to know about. And when they find out, you're humiliated. And partners are hurt and their hearts are breaking because of the things we're doing in addiction. Is this truly, just think for a minute. I want to get into your emotion a little bit. Like, is this really what you want? Is this it? Is this it? That little 10-year-old child that's inside of you, who had dreams and passions that this 10-year-old wanted out of life. I want you to talk to your 10-year-old child inside of you. And tell that 10-year-old child what you did with his life, where you are now. And that 10-year-old child is going to be sad. And that 10-year-old child is going to beg you to take care of him. Because the 10-year-old inside of you needs you to take care of him. And are you willing to sacrifice all of the chaos that comes with addiction? Are you willing to sacrifice the pain and the self-loathing and the loneliness? Chasing after something that you believe you're getting, chasing after an illusion of feeling loved and wanted, nurtured and whole, chasing after an illusion that makes you feel what you believe is peaceful because you don't feel the pain and agony happening in your life when you're high on meth and you're hunting for sex. But when it always comes down to, it always, whether you're meth addicted, sex addicted, or both, it always, always repeatedly brings you to a point where you are self-loathing, self-hating, hopeless, and see no way out. But you keep going back because there's an illusion. Doing those things is just going to make me feel good. But you know what? Every time you get to the point of desperation, it's worse and worse and worse, and you lose more and you lose more and you lose more. How much of what you have left in your life are you willing to sacrifice to keep your meth and sex addiction? And if you're willing to keep your meth and sex addiction, then that's on you. But if you want to sacrifice all the chaos, just give the unknown a chance. Because I'm here to tell you, if sobriety from sex and methamphetamine didn't solve my problems and didn't make me feel good, I'd return right back to the chaos. I promise you. I would return back to the meth and sex. This life is good, and I want you to have an opportunity to experience it. So if you want more information from me, more of my experience, strength, and hope and strategies to help you change and transform your life, to experience healthy sexual expression and the thrill of life sober from alcohol and drugs, methamphetamine in particular. I want you to sign up for my 10-step strategy session I give you for free. It's 30 minutes. The link is below. 10-step strategy session is 30 minutes long. It's going to give you 10 steps to begin changing your life today. And I want you to start changing your life. I want you to experience the beauty of sobriety and being present and learning to love yourself. I want you to start experiencing that. And listen to me. If in 90 days, a life free from sex and methamphetamine doesn't make you feel happier and more peaceful and more valued, go back. More than happy to refund the insanity. Just give it a chance. Sign up for my 10-step strategy session. Let's get you rolling in the right direction. And also, if you're really suffering and you need help, I'll have the link below. I'm offering you a free 45-minute phone call with me. I have recovered from sex and meth addiction for 12 years. 12 years. And this life is wonderful. It has its challenges. It has its difficulties. I lost my mother and my father. I've had a lot of challenges along the way, but I have refrained from active sex addiction and meth addiction for 12 years. You can too. So I'll have the link below. Feel free. Reach out to me. I'll have a 45-minute conversation with you. Listen to you, your pattern, your story, offer you some strategies. And then if we click and you want further help, I offer coaching to help you free yourself and build a life with healthy sexual expression. I don't want you to experience a life of no sex. I don't want you to experience a life where you're just miserable. I want you to be happy, successful, joyous, and free, and you can experience healthy sexual expression to really enjoy having sex with your partner and your own personal sexual expression. I want you to give me a chance. That's my dog barking, and that's my time. I look forward to seeing you again next Tuesday. Peace out, guys.